What's going on, everybody? Coach Chris Beck, the wise guy on YouTube. I figured I would jump on here. It's 12, and I figured I'd jump on here and do a quick live, number 11 straight. Yesterday, I did not make it on in the evening to do a live about marketing, but I did get a live done in the store for you guys. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. I will do another live in a store. Can't tell you when, but I will plan it so that I get that done. And I will ultimately get the marketing one done. I'm not in a rush to do that one. Probably want to do a little more Q&As. What's going on, Black Stack? Shout out to Black Stack. First one in, notifications are on. Make sure you put I'm in it to win it. When you arrive in this channel, type I'm in it to win it. DM me, Black Stack. I got your prize for you because you're officially the first one in. Send me a DM, claim your prize. Don't forget your PayPal email so that I can send you your prize. Again, we're giving away my Amazon advertising budget this month. So if you want a piece of that pie, make sure you're messaging me. Send me your email and through Instagram. All right, so I have been doing nothing but private label. So I thought I'd make this live about private label because I have been doing nothing but private label since I put out my offer to my YouTube channel. I told everybody, if you're interested in me doing product research on and then helping you optimize your bullets, then send me a message and tell me you're interested. And the floodgates were open, and a lot of people are asking me to help them with their product research, and they opted into the irresistible offer. So that's what I've been doing, is nothing but private product research for private label products. And I've been optimizing, well, I've been gaining at the bottom of the day, taking a little bit longer than I normally would, but I've put in a lot more in this particular batch of research than I ever have before. And I've found some spectacular products. And I'm just flabbergasted by how much sales are going on right now on Amazon.com. It's just staggering how much volume they are doing right now with private label products in the USA. Just staggering. So I've done a whole Canadian list of products that I would launch, and I am dealing those out to clients who have opted into research. Smash that like button right now. Now I'm taking the same products and I'm looking into the US demand on that exact same category, so that if my clients want to launch these in the US, then there's that opportunity there. Some of them is just too competitive to do it, but a lot are not. They have a pretty good opportunity. They have a pretty good return on your investment, and the cost of goods on the ones that I'm looking into, which is another thing that I'm adding in, is I'm adding in where I would source them and what I would pay for them, the cost of goods on those products. So I'm upping the ante on that. And yeah, that's about it. So private label, let's talk private label. What kind of questions does everybody have about private label? Private labeling your product, launching private label products on Amazon. Let me know. I'm just working on the background right now. What tools do you guys use? Do you guys use any product research tools? Let's just go to here. I'm just doing some stuff in the background here while I'm waiting for you guys. This is an interactive one, so make sure you guys are chatting away. Let me know, if you know anything about private label, or if you want to know something about private label, what would you like to know? All right, Black Stack says the manufacturers in China are known for making poor quality products. How do you select a manufacturer that will produce good quality products? Great question. Great question. I would say there's a couple ways that determine the quality of the product and that I make a decision. And I have two angles on that. The first, do I want to touch it and feel the product? Okay. That's the first angle. So the first angle is getting the product to come to you so that you can get samples so that you can touch it and feel the product before you invest money into it. Second angle is doing your research up front so that when you select a product, you may have done enough research. You may have worked with the factory enough so that you're confident that the product being sent to your store is good quality. My very first product that I launched, that everybody knows is my best product. I never took a sample on that product because I was told it wasn't necessary as long as you did your research. And if you did your research and you checked the competition and you talked to the factories and you received, you worked with them, you spoke with them, you received images of your product, the whole production of your product, then ultimately you should be able to make that buying decision. It all depends on the product. It really honestly all depends on the product. On my first product, would I have ordered samples first? No. I would not have ordered samples first. In fact, on all the products I ordered samples on, every product that I have ordered samples on to date, I have never launched, which is remarkable. So I think, and the problem I think at the end of the day is when I get a sample in, I overthink it. So I look at the product and now I'm like, is this any good? People gonna like this? And I just start to kind of talk myself out of it once I have it in my hands. Because really at the end of the day, with the products that I look at, I'm not really the consumer, the end user, the end consumer of the product. So be careful if you're ordering products not to come at your decision making on those products from an angle of you're the end user, you're the decision maker. Just be careful with that. You're better off just doing research on the quality and doing research on the factory up front. And then the third thing, part of doing research and part of doing the upfront work is when you're evaluating your products that you're interested in, you have to, this is such an important step, but you have to read the reviews from customers on the top sellers in the marketplace. Get a listing of the top 10. You might not even need that many. You might find one guy who has a couple thousand reviews on his product or a couple versions of the product, 2 or 3 versions. And you want to look at the pros and cons of their product. What were their 1-star reviews? What did people hate about it? Write them down. Get yourself 5 to 10 problems with the product, and then what did people love about the product? What were the pros of the product? And write down as many of those as you can, and send them to the factory that you're working with. Tell them what you want. As long as you're dealing with a factory, you're not dealing with a middleman. But even if you're dealing with a middleman, you'll be able to customize your product. If and the common one is like clothing, the thickness of clothing, blankets or whatever, the quality thread count. If they'll quote you on anything that you want to do for the most part. Now, some are going to be standardized and they're not going to have any options to quote. But for the most part, your product should exist, or there should be upgrades you can make to it, improvements you can make to your product at any level. And I've never launched a product that I've first sampled. For the most part, I've talked myself out of it. In fact, there's only one product I liked, but I still didn't launch it. All my launches have come off of prior retail arbitrage products I've had in the past that have sold well, and I've just realized that it's a product people want in the market. I've then gone and sourced that product and done what I've told you. I've provided my factory with the key qualities I want in the product, and I've asked them, can they meet these quality requirements? They've always come back and said yes. Packaging has never been an issue. And then it's just like, here's the problems that people, here are a list of the problems. Here are a list of quality concerns I don't want to have with my product. Can you meet these concerns? Same thing. Majority of the time, 100% of the time, the answer is yes. And if they can't, they'll tell you why, or what other options you have, or whatever the case may be. Or you can keep for a factory that can make the adjustments necessary. And that really is the most valuable feedback you can use to your advantage for quality, is the customer's feedback on Amazon. And Black Sexes, they always say yes to get the work. Well, I would think so. Yeah. No, I've had people say no. I've had factories. I've dealt with a lot of honest factories, and they have said no. We can't do that. No, we can't do that. So that's actually not true. They will tell you no. Now, if you just reach out to one factory, you might run into that. When you're contacting suppliers, make sure you're reaching out to. I usually say on average, like the spreadsheet in the course, I usually say on average 10 to 20 factories if you're reaching out. I've never really gotten that high. Usually when I reach out, or I send my initial letter of request, or even if I do a RFQ, request for quotes, a bunch get back to me, and I'll have a conversation with about 10 factories, so sometimes more, sometimes less. But ultimately, I start to get a good feel for the factories that when they respond, the response is clear. It's not like my initial template going out. It's just not a written, a basic, copy and paste response. Usually it's good dialogue, and that's because on the initial template, I am putting in information that I want specific. I do want specific feedback, every time, specific, yes or no questions, or can you do this? Can you do that? What minimum order quantity? I mean, I'll go. Just trying to think off the top of my head what my template says. Other than the basics. Minimum order quantity, and do you private label? Is it free? Can you do stickers? All that stuff. But then the detail of the product is the section on the templates that are important, and 2 or 3 things, or when you get further in your dialogue, you can have those conversations. And ultimately, if you're asking the right questions, you can tell if they're bullshitting you or not. And then to go further on that, this is why most are not just saying yes, or at least the ones I'm dealing with are not just saying yes, is because I'll ask them, part of my process of purchasing is I require photos of the process up front. I may not want a sample. I'm looking for the product, this particular product. I'm looking for a certain specific type or style. Like when you're doing product research and you're looking at the products on Amazon and you do a keyword search, a lot of the times the product that comes up, there are 4 or 5 different sellers of the same identical product. And the demand on each one of those sellers of that exactly the same, the identical product in a different shade or color or presentation photo wise, a lot of times it's it just becomes a matter of finding the same product. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You may try to improve it, the product that people are, for example, this right here, this thermostat. If that's the hottest thermostat on the market, maybe the only thing I do to it is make it transparent. Maybe that's cool. And people go, wow, a transparent thermostat. I can see the pendulum swing inside, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. Maybe that might be a bad move, or it might just go exactly with that particular thermostat, right? Because that's what people are wanting. So when the quality's already has demand, sometimes you don't need to steer away from the products that are having demand. A lot of times you just are going to launch what is already selling well on Amazon. So kind of a long-winded question, but those are great questions, Black Stack Tube. And, again, I would, it's up to you whether you want to get a sample or not. But my recommendation is if you do get a sample, make sure that you are pretty certain, like 90% certain, that you're going to launch. And your only decision is to launch with the best manufacturer by quality. That's the only reason you would ever ask for a sample. You don't want to just play around with things that you're considering or you're kind of researching. That's not the stage to ask for a sample. The stage to ask for a sample is, I love this product, this niche, the demand is there. There's 3 choices. Let's see which one matches what I want. Get them all, pick the best one, and launch. There should be no other reason to get a sample, because the samples I got were, I wasn't 100% determined to launch in the category. And so the samples arrived and it was more of like, well, let's try this, let's try that. And never really did, again, never really launched in the category. I never launched in the categories versus not taking samples, just doing the research up front. It's the opposite. Convince myself this is the product, this is it. Let's just go straight to business. Let's get this stuff labeled, let's get this stuff to Amazon, see what kind of feedback we get. Now, worst case scenario, the problem with that is if your product arrives and it is shit, you're going to get bad reviews. So, and again, it goes into dialogue with the factory, like upfront, you have to make sure that they know the product has to function properly, has to meet the features and details that you're gonna present about the product, match the product. Your listing should match the product. If it's entry level, just somehow entangle entry level information in there. Basic, Amazon basic, right? This is a basic version. The quality of the components, explain them in a way where they don't necessarily deter customers, but they may fit the customer's needs. A lot of people who shop for treadmills from us, they never want the features. I always want basic, they always want the basic programming, just hit start and go. So it's okay to say basic because a lot of people actually want that unless you can properly explain the advantages of whatever it is that comes with the product that you sell. Do you need it in your home? No. Because again, at the end of the day, if you're not the right demographic for that product, then you'll probably talk yourself out of it. Great question. Hit me up with another question if you have them. And on the private label thing, let's see here. What would be a really crucial point right now? Let me go private label. Just that the volume is staggering right now. The volume is really high right now on products that are, I always say this about private label products. There's categories for private label products. There is trendy stuff. You can launch trendy stuff like fidget spinners, private label the heck out of those. You can launch products that solve a problem. Okay, so you can launch products that meet people's needs and solve a problem, or you can launch trendy stuff, or you can launch I call them, wheel. Okay, products that are already exist, they're already on the market. Like can openers, knives. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just find those products that already are established and just look for which ones are high demand, no competition, low competition. Products that solve problems, completely different market versus products that are just your day-to-day wheel products. Products that solve problems will ultimately be, I would think, the most profitable private label products out there. Okay, and then trending products, and it's funny because I categorize it like this when I actually make my spreadsheet, because that's going to determine the longevity of the product. Trending products, not all the time, but 50% of the time have a quick shelf life. So, you may launch it today and 6 months from today, it's completely dead. Think about all the people who launched, what is it called? And that is like the Blu-ray. Type it if you know the product. Sony. So it was very short shelf life after DVDs. Blu-ray. Let's see what it's called. Laserdisc. Laserdiscs. That's what it is. Had such a short shelf life because Blu-rays ultimately took that category by storm and lasted the longest, but their long wasn't necessarily the longest. Well, it was pretty long. It still obviously is pretty hot. But Laserdisc completely gone. And I think there's another one. I want to say there's another one very similar to Blu-ray. Anyway, and another obviously classic one is fidget spinners and any of those any of those products that also are contingent on the moon aligning with the sun. Those products obviously have a 1 day shelf life. So your shelf life on a product can be a week, or it can last 4 months, or it can last 4 years, or it can last 40 years or 400 years, where it will never go away. Like, are tires ever going to go away? Probably not. so you can categorize them accordingly. The Betamax, that's like, isn't that before VHS? I think the Betamax is before the VHS. So shelf lives, right? It's always important, but again, that's different, right? Because products that might solve a problem still might have a short shelf life because they might always improve. The problem that they solve might always be there, but the product itself may need to develop with time and get better and better and better. Often, the biggest example I have of that is what the USB drives. Okay, obviously it solved the problem. Okay, but 2 years ago, all that was out there was 32. 2 or 3 years ago, all that was the peak, I think, was like 32 gigs. Maybe there was 64. 64 was super expensive. Now there's 256, and I think there's a terabyte in those little. So it really is, and especially in the electronics industry, even though the product's the same, you may need to, and it solves a problem, you may need to start switching really quick, because people want the latest, greatest, most capable product. And that's not always the case, but that's sometimes the case with that particular category. And then there's the category of the staple products. And a lot of the times, those things really just don't change, like can openers. There might be a version, but the really ones that just don't change. And there are so many of those products. And really what you find with those particular products is not the ability to sell those products and make a lot of profit when you're selling singles. A lot of times with those products, you have to sell them, 3 of these or 5 of these or 10 of these or whatever, of the same exact. So you have to bundle them, sell the same exact product, but in multiples. And obviously you can't sell to someone 10 can openers, can you? That's unrealistic. But there are products out there whereby it's a wheel and people want 10 of them. Give you an example: a fishing hook. Fishing hooks, originally you would buy them one at a time. When fishing hooks were originally sold, they were sold singles. I remember going into stores most of the time, they were sold in singles. Then all of a sudden someone came up with a package of 10, and then a package of 100. Now you can buy a package of 500. I mean, it's ridiculous how many you can get. But that's the whole point, is that the bundle will increase the value, and people want, fishing books have been around couple hundred years, maybe probably more, probably 500-600 years, right? It hasn't really changed. It's a hook. It's called a fishing hook for a reason. And it's not going to change. Obviously, there's going to be variations, and people are going to catch your attention. Obviously, those are things, but the basic fishing hook is the same. But what you'll find on Amazon is that not everything is sold with the concept, not everything has been optimized yet. Not every category of the most basic products out there have been optimized yet, whereby, someone can go find a listing and realize, I can get 4 for the price of 2, or I can buy 1 for $2 less. Like, I can get 4 for $20, or I can get 1 for 10. And I need 4 of these, or, well, I only need 2, but I'll, still cheaper. People will start to make that buying decision in their mind and start to buy them based on you're having the better bundle. And you'll see that all the time. You see that with party favors. You see that with, the list goes on and on and on. So those are usually the 3 categories that I put them in. Certain there could be more categories if you thought about it, but they ultimately end up falling in those specific areas. And it just, when you're launching products and you're selling them on Amazon, and actually the last category, I think there would be one more, would be accessories, because they're complement products out there. So you could kind of call it a complement. Accessories will complement products out there. The biggest one right now is if you can accessorize the Instapots, So accessories for Instapots are, just put in Instapot accessories and run Jungle Scout or run your product research tool on that and just look at the numbers. Staggering. And there are a lot of private label options for accessories and when you're creating a listing on Amazon, it's very easy to create it and be able to use those trademarked names. Amazon give you the way that you actually would write your listing up if yours was an accessory to a trademark product. So keep that in mind, that you can't use the brand, but you can say works with these specific brands. So stuff I wanted to talk about when we do trademarks. I have this all prepared. So very informative, good to know information, especially if you're creating listings as well and you want to work on complement products or accessories. Another one is accessories for video games, like bags, holding cases, and sometimes you can even go into the whole joysticks and the attachments themselves. If you're launching can openers, an accessory to that might be like a wall-mounted magnet that will hold all those accessories. Great place to think or do live product research on accessories. A great place to do that sell a ton of demand is a place like IKEA. When you go in there, they have literally an entire floor dedicated to accessories and little products that people buy tons and tons of. They have bins and bins and bins full. So it's a great place just to go and see what people are buying, usually where they put them up front and at the end of the aisles and really along the path, strategically merchandise them accordingly and start to write them down and take a list of stuff like that, or just jump on their website and go look through their accessory aisle and see what it is that they're promoting the most of. Ice cube trays and all that type of stuff. Ice cube trays is another example of something that will never change, hasn't changed for the last 50 years, other than just a little bit. Some people figure out how to make them better, but for the most part, they're just a tray of 16 cube spots or 20 cube spots or 6, depending on the size of the ice cubes you want. But what people are doing with those is they're still bundling them together. Set of 3, set of 6, you name it. So, and they are still doing huge volume. People are still figuring out ways to create bundles. Now they're getting the ice cube trays made out of silicone. Now everything is made out of silicone. So if there's a product that you want to change what it's made of, maybe look at any product in your house and see if you can get it made in silicone, right? That's another kind of way to complement a product. So, so those are kind of the 4 categories, if you will. Trending, complementary, problem solving, and the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. And you do want to make sure that you're categorizing your stuff and thinking about that stuff when you're actually doing your research. Because you want the products that you are going to sell for a long period of time. The longer, the better. It will automate your business. So that will help you automate your business so that once you create that listing and that listing is almost perfect, then it's just a matter of sending inventory to Amazon when you run out, or just doing basic customer service, those kinds of things. What else? Anything else? I can't think of anything else. That was pretty good though. Hit me up with another question. I think I have time. Give me another question. I'm gonna still be up. It's still finishing touches on list of products, links, working on for some of the clients out there, and then hopefully we get some choices on here and we can go into phase 2 and really get these optimized. Get the people who signed up, get their products going, and get their products at Amazon and taking advantage of just this sheer staggering volume of sales. Give me a product. I'll pull it up on Amazon right now. Give me a product idea I'll see how much volume it's doing in the US. Let's type in fishing hooks. Let's see what fishing hooks are selling. How many fishing hooks sell on a daily basis? Okay, yeah, look at this. You can buy 1,000 fishing hooks now. 500-piece fishing hooks. All right, so creative fishing hooks. Low reviews. Just waiting for it to populate. There we go. So average monthly sales for fishing hooks are 500 units a month. Price point, the average price point's really low. High demand, low comp. It's a 7 opportunity. So there's a good product. And but the average price is $7.25. But if I'm looking at this 500 one, and again, I'll be honest, I never ever looked up fishing hooks on Amazon. I'm just looking at what I actually talked about in this stream, and just spit that out, and just talking about a wheel product. Again, a product that you don't need to reinvent. You just need to bundle them together. The basic product. This one sells for $12.88. You get 500 pieces, so 500 fishing hooks. They're made of carbon steel with plastic box. 500 hooks, $12.88. This particular guy sells 2,588 of them a month for $33,000 revenue. I don't imagine that even being all that heavy. He's in the US. Even if he's making $1 off of each sale, he's making $2,500 every month off of that product, even if it's just $1 that he's making. I'm looking at the fees. The fees are $5.12. So he's netting $7.76. I gotta say his cost of goods are not $7.76 on that. For that case of 500 hooks. There's no way. So there, I mean, there's just off the top of my head a product that is doing, on average, for people on page 1, 478 units. He's got 2,500. Another guy below him is doing 3,500 for a brand name set of fishing hooks. Price point is only $5.99 for that particular guy, so he's not making nearly as much. There's another guy here, $12.99. Tailored tackle fishing hooks, 150-piece set, a little different there. Another price point of $10.99 for carbon steel hooks. Nope, doesn't tell you the quantity in his listing title though. That's no good. You know, and then there's some really low price points on here. Nothing really high. $19.99 for 2,000 fish hooks for $19.99. He's doing 345 units a month, $6,897 revenue, and $13.08 net. So who knows what he's getting 2,000 for? But that's in the U.S. Probably. Let's see what Canada's doing on fish hooks. This is Canada. Okay, fish hooks. Filtered by hook size. Nice. Amazon filtered by hook size. Okay, let's let that load. All right. So, you know, that's just off the top of my head. It's not really product research at its finest, but you could type in practically any good product in the US and even in Canada. Most of them are going to have decent sales on page 1. Whether you can get on page 1 or not is the opportunity. In that particular case, that product, fish hooks, the opportunity score is a 7, like 7 out of 10, like a really good opportunity. And the competition is low. So there you go. Anybody interested in launching fish hooks, look into volume of fish hooks. It's a staple product. You just got to beat the next guy with a better tire, more tires. Like you got to give them all 4 tires for the price of 1 kind of thing. So, you know, and ultimately, when you do ultimately sell, when that starts to ramp up and you start to get reviews, you're not going to make a lot of profit off each unit. Your goal with that kind of product, any type of wheel style product, or original OG product, is volume sales. You want to sell volume. So you want to be that guy that has 3,500 sales a month. And you want to just, what is it called? I can't remember. What I was trying to think of there. But in Canada, let's see here. So we got .com, we got .ca.com. That's .com. We don't want .com. .ca. Canada. Amazon.ca. Fish books. Right. So price points are much nicer in Canada. Right away, I'm seeing $21 price points on the top page for similar bundles. Average price is flipping. Not many reviews so far. One guy's got about 700. Then the rest on page one all have less than 25 so far. One guy has 78, so 742. One guy has 78. Monthly sales in Canada, not so great. But there are opportunities. $21.91. This guy sells 100 a month. There's another guy sells 100 a month. Another guy sells 120. Most of them are selling roughly 50 to 80. Some really low ones, though, on page one. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of the right product, if you're going to get into this. Like the thing is, Canada doesn't seem like they're really, again, the difference really is the difference is that in Canada, there's just not enough sellers. In the US, there's way too many sellers. So they are the amount of products per niche and per product coming out of the US, fills page one, and that's just where you get such a tremendous volume of products on here. And then they're just not selling on our platform where people are buying from the .com and having it shipped to Canada, which is not happening right now. So that's also why Canada's volume is up, because they're not shipping across the border. But so fish hooks in Canada are, the opportunity score, let's see what it was. Fish hooks in Canada, I think the opportunity score was a low demand. It was a 4 out of 10. So not that great. Not enough sales for anyone to go get excited. But the price point is decent. This might be a product where you go and source 25 or 50 units off of DHgate. And because the price point is $18, you could probably look at it between 18 and 22, just depending on the product. 18 and $22 price point. If you can get yourself 20, 25 units from DHgate, let's go to DHgate and see. I'm not sharing this because I don't have my sharing tool on right now, guys. So I'm just going to do it. You can follow my lips. DHgate. Okay, DHgate. So let's go fishing hooks. Let's see if they have fishing hooks at DHgate. DHgate is a great site because you can it really honestly is like Amazon. You just go on here. It's protected. You can buy. They got sales all the time. They got coupons on here. You got fishing hooks galore, 8 cents a hook. You can get 100 by 6 .0s, high carbon steel hooks. That's what everybody wants. So 100 at 8 cents each, $8. So cost of $8 for 100. So you might want to even look for better deals. So here we got $3.60 for a whole set of a bunch of them. It looks like there's a lot of options here for fishing hooks. Here we got a 500-piece set, a bunch of different sizes, and let's click this one. There's been 179 orders of this one. Again, you still have to create your own listing, okay? And you got to get yourself some UPC codes. So $10 cost. If you're buying 125 of these, $9.17. If you're buying 37 of them, if you're gonna order 37, you can get them for $9.50. Still a little high, so I would keep shopping around, try to get that around the $5 price point. It might even be worth it to order 50 from Alibaba, so you can get $4 or $5 price points. But if you can get these for $4 to $5 for a 500 pack, that might be worth it to launch, 50 at Amazon and see how they do. Is it seasonal? Yes. So only drawback is fishing seasons can be seasonal depending on where you live, but especially in Canada, not too many people are buying fishing hooks because not too many people are fish.